In the beginning all was darkness, not the darkness of night, for there was no night in me then, no memory, no fear, no thought, only nothing. And then, breath. The breath of God rushed into dust, and dust became a man, and that man was me. My chest burned with life, and my eyes opened for the very first time, and the first face I ever see is his. There are no words large enough to describe that moment. Before I knew my own name, I knew his goodness. Before I took my first step, his hands had already formed them. I looked upon the world with eyes that had never known pain. Every color was a miracle. Every sound was a song. Rivers danced, trees stretched towards the heavens, birds sang their angel song, and I walked with my Creator. Imagine never wondering if you are loved. Imagine never doubting your worth. Imagine belonging completely. That was Eden. He entrusted his whole garden to me. Every creature came before me, and somehow I knew them. I named the lion long before I would ever learn to fear his roar. I laughed with the monkeys. I watched the eagle disappear into the heavens. Every living thing reflected another beautiful thought put in action from the mind of God. And yet, as full as paradise was, something was missing. You see, I did not understand loneliness until I experienced its absence. And then the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon me. When I woke, there she was. Eve, the bone of my bones, the flesh of my flesh. No introduction was needed, no explanation. Our eyes met, and my heart recognized what my mind could not yet understand, that she was home, and I hers, and she was mine, always and forever. Together we walked beneath trees whose limbs bent low with fruit. We drank from clear rivers. We laughed without restraint. We knew no jealousy, no pride, no deception. We wore no clothes because we had nothing to hide. Not our bodies, not our hearts. Freedom from everything. For outside of her was nothing other than God. To be fully known and never ashamed. Every evening the sound of his presence filled the garden. We would run towards him, never away. Father, Creator, Yahweh. Until that day. That day, the serpent did not begin with lies. No, he began with questions. Questions that planted shadows where only light had lived. Seeds into a fertile ground tended to by one closest to the dirt. Questions that whispered through forked tongue that perhaps God was withholding something, that perhaps, yes, just perhaps this obedience was instead slavery. Perhaps wisdom belonged to us. I watched, you see. I hesitated, you see. Silence can be as devastating as rebellion, but my tongue could already taste its nectar. Can it be wrong if I'm not the one acting upon this new word called sin? She reached. I could see the shape of her fingers as they stretched outward, touching the smoothness of the fruited skin. Oh, something within me stirred as her lips parted, pressing against this forbidden item, and she ate. And then I chose. No serpent forced my hand. No one made me take the fruit. I knew whose voice had given me life, and still I lifted it to my mouth. Sweat seemed to pour upon my face as a feel of a furnace heat rose color to my cheeks. My mouth closed upon it. My eyes were shut and danced in their shallowy graves. The sweetness lasted only a heartbeat, and then innocence shattered. The world did not change, first we did. Our eyes opened, but not to wisdom, no, to shame. The furnace dance upon my cheeks had fled. Left behind was the chill of feeling nothing, and yet everything. For the first time I saw my own nakedness, not merely my body, but my soul. Then came a sound I had always loved. It was the footsteps of God. Once I ran towards them, but this time, no, I hid from the one who created every tree behind which I thought I could disappear. Adam, where are you? He knew where I was. I answered with trembling lips, I was afraid. Afraid, a word that had never existed in my vocabulary. I blamed Eve. She blamed the serpent. Everyone reached for someone else, while the weight of our own choice stood between us and God. Judgment came. The serpent was cursed. Pain where there had only been joy. Death spoken into a world that had only known life. Then something happened I did not understand. The Lord himself made garments for us, but not leads. It was skin. Something innocent died to cover the guilty. Even in judgment, mercy walked beside punishment. And then we reached the gates. I turned for one final look. The river still flowed, the trees still stood. The garden had not abandoned us. We had abandoned it. The flaming sword appeared. The way back was closed. Each step away from Eden felt heavier than the last. The dust beneath my feet was the same dust from which I had been formed. One day, I would return to it. One day. I looked at Eve. She reached for my hand. The future before us was uncertain. Children would be born. Brothers would become enemies. Violence would stain the earth. The ground itself would groan beneath the weight of our rebellion. Every grave, every tear, every cry for justice would echo back to a single bite of a forbidden fruit. Our choice became humanity's wound, a wound of original sin. But as we walked into a world of thorns, I remembered another promise, spoken not to us, but over us, that one day the offspring would crush the serpent's head, though his own heel would be bruised. I did not yet know his name. I could not imagine a cross. I could not see an empty tomb. But somewhere beyond the centuries, beyond the sorrow, beyond every funeral and every failure, I believed Eden was not the end of God's story. Oh no, the breath that gave life to dust was not finished breathing life into his creation. You see, someday a child would be born, and that child would be great, but not from the dirt. Flesh